Well, it's Friday, and here we are with our Feature Friday. I'm Rebecca, Beck Health Chick, and we're going to be talking about the bitter truth behind sugar. So I'm going to, hi everybody. Thanks for jumping on. Hi Robin. Hi Danny. Hi Cheyenne. Hey Cheyenne. Can't wait till our 10K. That'll be exciting, huh? Okay, so let's get started here. So we're going to be talking about sugar, and if you remember our section that I've been learning about the last couple of weeks is about the cardiovascular system. And so last week we talked about what is our biggest factor in cardiovascular disease, and that was a diet high in sugar, because of the effects of what blood sugar does in your body. Hi, Susie. So, okay, I don't know what just happened there, but okay. So anyway, so today we're going to continue on that subject because there's a lot that we talk about, changing your diet, whole foods diet, taking sugar out, but sometimes it's easier to really understand why you're going to take something out of your diet, especially something so integral to our current diet, which is sugar. Sugar is in everything, right? If you've ever tried to stay away from sugar, you realize that just looking at the packages on things. And then sugar is also kind of controversy too. There's some people that say that since fruit has sugar in it, and if sugar's bad, then out with the fruit. So we're going to talk about how we can be balanced and what things that we can look for when we are trying to limit our sugar intake. So we're going to just talk about, I always try to break it down to the least amount of information that we can do, because there's a lot that we can talk about. But we're going to look at just 3 reasons why sugar in your diet is really not serving us very well as far as our health and wellness. So the first thing is that it is an anti-nutrient. So we introduced that word during our immune talks. An anti-nutrient is something that actually sucks or robs nutrients from your body. Now, sugar, and when we talk about sugar, we're talking about the processed sugar where everything has been taken out of it and is just pure sweetness. So an anti-nutrient, sugar, what it does is it robs your body of calcium, magnesium, thiamine, chromium, and zinc, and vitamin C. So in order for your body to break sugar down in order to use it as glucose, because remember, the glucose is what goes into your cells, and all of your cells need that. But in order for sugar that enters into your body to be used that way, it needs all of those nutrients to break it down. So then some people say, well, okay, all sugar is the same, right? So if sugar is that bad and it has that effect on your body, then I'm not going to even have fruit. And there's a small bit of truth to that. But the thing about it is that fruit in its natural form contains all of those nutrients that it needs in order to break down to glucose. So again, I mean, how wonderful our Creator was in giving us all of what we need for our body to utilize what He created. So no, not all sugar is the same. The sugar that comes from fruit will be broken down by the package that it comes in, the fruit. And that's why it's important to always use the whole fruit. Okay, so what are some of the organs that are affected by sugar consumption? So we know that it's an anti-nutrient, so it robs our body, but it also affects other organs, because remember, we're an ecosystem where all of our systems work together. So the adrenals are affected, our digestion, our liver, our nervous system, And of course, where we started with this conversation is our cardiovascular. So all of those systems are affected by the amount of sugar that we consume. Now, so what are we talking about? Are we just talking about, a little bit of sugar, a lot of sugar? What effect is it? Well, uh, if we consume sugar, and even as little as a teaspoon of sugar will cause our immune system to be compromised for 5 hours. So, and also sugar loads increase the normal rate of mineral loss by 300% for, guess what, 12 hours. That's pretty significant. That causes you to stop and think about that. So that means that no amount of supplementation or good eating is going to balance out the mineral and vitamin loss when it comes to sugar in our diet. Now, the next thing. So that was number one. The next thing is our immune system. Now, immunity right now is top of mind. We're right in the throes of the pandemic. So the coronavirus is on everybody's minds, but don't forget that we're still now entering in cold and flu season. So even though we don't have as much interaction with people, so probably our rates of that are lower, if we do get something, we need to make sure that our immune system is at the top of its game. So we already saw how it's an anti-nutrient, so it sucks some of those critical elements to our immune system, zinc and vitamin C. But what else does it do to our immune system? Well, a high amount of blood a high amount of sugar in the bloodstream is going to crowd out the white blood cells. And now the white blood cells are immunity warriors. They're the ones that are going to be looking for all of these invaders and taking them out. But if we've crowded our bloodstream up with blood sugar, there's not going to be enough room. So our poor white blood cells are not going to be able to do the job that they're designed to do. And then that's when we lower our immunity and we compromise our immune system, putting ourselves in line for contracting some of these viruses, bacteria, parasites that our immune system is trying to help us out with. So this was pretty interesting. So Dr. Sears did a study, and he had 5 groups of people. And the first group he gave no sugar to at all. And the 5th group he gave 24 teaspoons of sugar. So it gradually increased. So those were all the groups had some kind of sugar, but one group had no sugar. Okay, so what was the effect on the immune system and the white blood cells' ability to take out, like Pac-Man, take out the bacteria? Well, this group with no sugar was able to eat up 14 bacterium in the length of time. And I'm sorry, I didn't write down how much length of time this was. So let's assume that it's a minute. Okay, 14. This guy over here, one in that same amount of time. So it was 14 times more ability to do its work, the white blood cells, with no sugar at all, and then gradually got worse as the amount of sugar increased. So that's pretty amazing. And then it was compromised for 5 hours after the study. So it really, so the first two that we've discussed, the nutrients that sugar displaces and also the effect on our immune system, those two are really, really biggies, especially right now. But the last one, and we've talked about this in a lot of our sections, but the last one is about inflammation. And we've talked about how inflammation really is at the core or the key to so many of our diseases that we get, from diabetes, which now that seems kind of logical, right? And when you think about the connection between blood sugar and inflammation. But what is that? What is that connection? Well, blood sugar in the body requires insulin, right? So your pancreas um, puts out that insulin to bring the level of blood sugar down, and also to open up the cells so that the blood sugar can be used, which it turns to glucose after it goes through the liver, and then it's used in the cells as glucose, which we need for all the stuff that we do. So if there's too much blood sugar, we already know the insulin is coming out, it's trying to do its thing, it can't lower it, so it starts putting fat, and then that's when the immune system gets crazy, because now we have blood sugar and we have proteins that have not broken down, and then that causes the immune system to get into high alert and stay there. So we have these chronic states of inflammation, and that is causing all kinds of diseases. And you can see the play that sugar has in that, a really, really big player in that course of inflammation. So those were the three things that I wanted to talk about. And when we think about, well, how can we live in a world that is so filled with processed foods, and all of those processed foods are fast foods. In other words, they've taken all of the good nutrients, the fibers out, that's going to slow down and cause your body to be able to use what it has. Everything's fast, so it turns into sugar so quickly, and it's just too much for our bodies to keep up with. So what can we do? Well, number one, we talk a lot about whole foods, and why starting with a whole food diet is the best thing to do. A lot of times we want the quick fix. We want to say, well, tell me okay, I'll just have a lot of vitamin C, because you said that vitamin C is good for our immune system, right? Well, what we've learned from this section really is that what we take into our body will determine whether those nutrients that we're supplementing our diet with are even going to be utilized. So start with a clean diet. So try not to have things that are processed. Try to have things in the whole state. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I brought out, I'm just going to let you see a little bit. Okay, so I brought out some examples of some natural forms of sugar that can be used instead of anything processed. So here, the good old banana, right? Some people will stay away from this because they say, oh, there's so much sugar in it. But if you're baking and you need to sweeten it up, perfect, right? Because look at all of the good nutrients, fiber, and vitamins that you get with this. Next is dates. Dates are amazing. I use these a lot with my nut milks, and you don't need that many. 2 for a whole quart of nut milk. Molasses. I know we hardly ever use this. When I was pregnant with Jordan, my dad said you need to have milk and molasses every day for your iron. Well, there's not a lot of iron in here. That's kind of something that we used to think, that there would be a lot of iron in here. There's not a ton of it. But what there there's a lot of nutrients, there's fiber, so you're getting a lot more than just the sweetness of it. And there's some recipes that people say you cannot make without molasses. I think gingerbread is one of them. Next is our good old honey, making sure that this is glyphosate free, right? This is a great form of natural sweetener because of all of the good nutrients, phytonutrients, fiber, minerals that you get along with the honey. And then we have some of our others that are natural based, but you still want to be a little bit careful with it. So this is my favorite, for just, like my cacao and things like that. I will use stevia. This is the organic stevia. I get this from Amazon. Now this is yucky. It says natural, but when you look at it, it is a sugar alcohol. You want to stay away from sugar alcohol. In fact, anything that ends in OL is a sugar alcohol. Stay away from it. Your brain is not going to register that you have satisfied any kind of sweet tooth that you may have had. It misses that. So then you're just going to keep eating it and eating it and eating it. And I don't even have on this table saccharin, which is sweet and low, NutraSweet. Those, yuck. Don't ever get those. Those are chemicals that your body just does not know what to do with. So stay away. Coconut sugar. This is, if it's unprocessed, especially, you're going to get the good part of it, the fibers and nutrients. And then there's monk fruit. Some people like this. When I looked at it, it has erythritol, which is, again, the sugar alcohol. So, use it in small batches. But, try to, next time you have a hankering for something sweet and you want to make it yourself, carrot muffins, banana bread, try to use things that are natural and see how you like it. Sometimes you might just have to get used to the taste of it, because sugar is so sweet that your taste buds, which you have more sweet taste buds in your mouth than any other taste. So your body is really tuned into that. So you have to train it to not require it to be so sweet, and you can do it. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed today's session on sugar and learning a little bit about the effects of sugar, and I hope that this will kind of make you think. I brought out this too because we didn't talk about alcohol at all, but this is basically all sugar. So, when you're thinking about a good whole meal, think about fiber, fat, and protein, and have them be in a good balance. So this is good fats, of course. This is good high quality protein, and we've talked about that before. And fiber can come in the form of whole grains, vegetables, and fruits. Okay, so that's the balance on your plate. So if you're going to have some wine, and today is Friday, consider two things. Consider one, trying to find wine that is glyphosate free. And I just found one, and I may have a live interview lined up with the person that produces it. It's a local here to Santa Barbara County, so I'm super, super excited. But the other thing is have it with food. Have it especially with something that has those components, fat, fiber, and protein. And then you'll slow down the absorption of that sugar. Okay, so my daughter-in-law had suggested that I put a thank you. I put a question out there and say, hey, what questions do you want? And I had one person, my beautiful cousin Dawn. She was the only one that responded, and her question was this. So I'm going to take just a couple minutes to, I know I'm a little bit over time, so hopefully you can stick around. Let's see. Okay, my question. Her question was, can your immune system, here it is, can your immune system block sickness from happening? Okay, so after today's presentation, which, how timely was that? She was right on the money. You realize that it's all together, right? There's several legs to this immunity stool. One is our diet, so making sure that we have good whole foods and we limit our sugar and processed foods. Two, that we move. That we move every day, and that's getting our lymphatic system, which is an integral part of our immune system, doing its thing. And then three is that after you have cleaned up your diet, and then you know where your deficiencies are, then you can add supplementation, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. These would be really good for your immune system to boost it, and it probably would be a good idea during the time, especially when we're most concerned, to always keep that as supplements, but not to take the place of a good diet. So thank you for joining me, and please, if you are watching this on the replay, put replay in it. Tag people that you think that might be interested, especially about the upcoming one with our glyphosate-free wine. And I'm really excited about that. So, all right, enjoy the rest of your Friday. And today is also Fitness Friday, so get out there and move. And I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining.